Let me ask you about what Russia is doing, bombing grain silos, canceling the grain agreement. This is going to increase famine around the world. Food prices are going to go up. And there's real concern now about Russia claiming a false flag as they mine the Black Sea harbors and blaming Ukraine. Is there anything that we can do? I know the UN is having meetings today, but Russia has a veto there. Is there any way that can NATO escort ships through? How do we get the grain out quickly, even while we try to help them with overland routes?
So, Andrea, first, let's put this in perspective. Of course, this never should have been necessary, the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Never should have been necessary in the first place. The only reason it had to happen was because Russia invaded Ukraine. And then, having invaded Ukraine, it decided to blockade its ports, the leading port, Odessa, for export to the world of wheat and grain and other food products. And so the United Nations, Turkey helped initiate this effort. The result over about a year was to get 35 million tons of food products out to the rest of the world, predominantly to the developing world. 50% of the food products, at least, going to the developing world, 2/3 of the wheat. That meant people were getting food on the table. It meant that even countries that weren't directly receiving the food products from Ukraine were getting lower prices because it's a world market. Russia, by weaponizing food, is doing something truly unconscionable. Throughout this period, when the initiative was working, that 35 million tons equates to about 18 billion loaves of bread. Imagine what that means every single day to people living throughout the developing world. So I hope the world is watching this and seeing how Russia is cynically manipulating food in order to advance its objectives in Ukraine. Now, to your question, we're working with allies, we're working with partners, we're working with Ukraine to look at other options. But I have to tell you, I don't think it's possible to make up the volumes lost by ending this initiative through other routes. So we're going to do our best, but this has put a deep chill on the on shipping, on ensuring. And by the way, in the 4 days since they have ended their participation in this arrangement, what have they done, Russia? They bombed every single day the Odessa port. They've laid more mines. They've threatened shipping. In fact, they did an exercise just yesterday that they very deliberately publicized where they simulated an attack on a ship. What does that tell you about their intentions? What does that tell you about the lack of any basic decency when it comes to getting food where it needs to go?
So now there's no way that commercial shipping can proceed. I mean, I'm sure
I think it's very, very difficult because for the shippers, for the insurers, given the threats, more than the threats, the action that Russia's taken over the last few days, it would be very hard to operate in that environment. That's why we are looking for alternatives. We are looking for options. I just don't think we can make up the volume.
What about the false flag?
Well, we've raised real concerns about that. I think you heard Bill Burns talk to that, John Kirby from the White House podium. Again, this is something that is part and parcel of the Russian playbook. We said before the aggression against Ukraine started, I was at the United Nations a couple of weeks before, we laid out in detail the very kinds of false flag operations that they would conduct in anticipation of the attack. It's exactly what they did. We called them on it. The world knew about it. We want to make sure that people see what this is, if it happens, for what it is.
How concerned are you about the counteroffensive, which is bogged down by Ukraine's own admission?
Look, these are still relatively early days. We've said from the start, we've known from the start that this would be hard going. You've heard a number of people talk about that. The Russians have laid significant and serious defenses when it comes to mines initially. The Ukrainians are working their way through that. I believe they have what they need to be very successful. And as they deploy and as they actually put into this effort all of the forces that have been trained in recent months, the equipment that we and some 50 countries have provided them, I think that will make a profound difference. But here's what makes the ultimate difference. The ultimate difference is, unlike the Russians, they're fighting for their land, they're fighting for their country, they're fighting for their future, they're fighting for their freedom. That is the single biggest difference maker that I think we've already seen as they've taken back more than 50% of the territory that Russia initially seized. That's the difference maker going forward, too.
How weakened do you think Vladimir Putin is by the aborted rebellion?
You know, it's hard for us to know for sure, and it's hard to, and probably wrong to speculate. I think what we can say safely is that we've seen cracks emerge in the facade. The fact that Prigozhin made a direct challenge to Putin's authority, the fact that he questioned publicly the very premises that Putin has advanced for the aggression against Ukraine, that's playing out and will continue to play out. We've seen the ongoing drama, too, of where is Prigozhin? What is the arrangement with Putin? We've seen their forces, the Wagner forces, move to Belarus. Very bad for Belarus, because wherever Wagner goes, exploitation, death, and destruction inevitably follow. We don't know how this will play out. You know, if I were Mr. Prigozhin, I would remain very concerned. NATO has an open door policy. Russia has an open windows policy. And he needs to be very focused on that.